Pro Lift. We back with episode 23, Fatherhood, Hip Hop, and Sports. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to the Creator for giving us life, for giving us the chance, giving us the opportunity to be in the number one more time. Uh, First and foremost, I also want to give a special shout out to my YouTube family, to the subscribers. Thank you guys so much for keeping the Prolific experience alive, well, healthy, and strong. I'm so thankful to the YouTube community for the platform they're giving me to exercise my freedom of speech and speak on topics that mean so much to me. Fatherhood. I want to send a special shout out to all the fathers out here across the world. Uh, we're in the fourth quarter. It's time to close, dads. It's time to close, mothers. Uh, December is a very busy month for all of us. Uh, I recall saying December was a very complex and fast paced month for me in my previous episode. But when I sat back and had to, do a little homework on my own public speaking, I had to, reconsider, that comment and be like, hey, well, it's fourth quarter for all of us. It's December. It's time to close for everybody. So it's not just about me and mine. It's about all of us. It's time to close. So I just want to send a special shout out to all the fathers out here, guys. You guys rock. You guys are amazing. Stay prayed up. And stay pushing. And let's take care of these babies. Hip hop. I want to send a special shout out to the homie Offset. It's been in the news. It's been in the media. He's still, taking the loss of his cousin to the heart. Death is a very hard pill to swallow. Uh, I wish it on nobody, and I hope and pray Offset finds some type of clarity, find some type of peace, because he's a dad, he's a father as well, and I I can only imagine how you feel right now, knowing he's about to spend his first Christmas without somebody that I know meant the world to him. So let's keep Offset, Quavo, the whole Migo family, all their fans. Let's keep them in our prayers, guys, because death is a real hard pill to swallow. Want to send another special shout out to Lil Baby. He's also trending in the media right now for going out on a limb saying that Atlanta is the mecca of hip hop. Being a native of Georgia, living there for 17 years of my life, and being a part of the transformation of the South from a music standpoint, I I have to agree with him on that. Atlanta is the mecca of hip hop right now. Nobody, there's not another city in this United States of America that is so culturally hip hop, black empowered, driven like the A. Atlanta is the mecca of drip, of sauce, of opportunity when you're talking about minorities and people of color right now, currently, today. And it's been going on like that for the last 15, 20 plus years, 30 years, to be honest with you. It just became something that people had to pay attention to here in the last about 5, 10 years. So uh, I agree with Little Baby on his comments. Atlanta is the mecca. It is the hot spot when we talking culture, hip hop, and where we at in terms of American history as far as, game changing environments, and they are globally known. This is not just a United States thing. Everybody all across the world knows that Atlanta is hot spot right now. So I agree with Little Baby. Want to send another special shout out to Missy Elliott. She received a second doctorate degree from Norfolk State. She is a Virginia native. This is not her second doctorate degree from Norfolk State, but just to have two doctorate degrees to your name, and be a Grammy winning artist, and just been a pioneer to the culture for such a very long time, and still has found time to still stay sharp. And that's newsworthy stuff to talk about. News, things to give kudos to. So big shout out to Missy Elliott for her achievements this past weekend. I want to quote her as well. She also said in her speech, "May your journey be successful, fearless, determined to be your best." I thought that was very deep because we're all on a journey, and of course, success is what we all want to see at the, you know, along the journey, at the end of the journey, and even when we might have to, start new chapters in life. Success is, the one thing that I hope and pray we all are striving and hungry for. Um, big shout out to Missy Elliott. Also, big shout out to all the creators. It's fourth quarter time, guys. Uh, Hip hop, the music, the substance, the content. I stand on totally believing that, the more substance, the more love, the more passion we put into the craft, into the art, the airways will receive better vibrations from the artists, and from the people that are creating this content. So let's focus more on the love, creators, artists, and hope and pray the world just can stay at bay and be a better place. Sports. Uh, Shout out to Brittany Griner. She's finally home. Russia finally released her, and she's back now on U.S. soil. She made it back to Phoenix area this past weekend. I want to say past Friday, and she, of course, all of us know she's been, she was detained and locked up, you know, up under Russian authorities for the past 10 months, and all over a few grams of hash. Very petty, very outlandish when you think back on all of the time that this woman had to spend in another country, all behind a couple grams of, you know, medical, um, of her meds, things that she was prescribed to by a doctor here, in the country she lives in, pay taxes and all of that. But I truly believe, the young lady wasn't trying to just book Russia or break any rules and regulations. I just truly feel like she probably felt like, you know, she can catch her flight, and it wasn't gonna be that kind of drama and those kind of politics. But I think it all boiled down to who she was, her stature, her energy. They knew she was of some type of prominence, as far as an American, and I truly stand on that and believe that's why they hemmed her up and jammed her up and did her like that, because they knew she, was a person of magnitude. So Russia, man, y'all tripping on that one. And just to say y'all swapped her out for some guy that's quote unquote an arms dealer. Uh, I don't know. That was very weird because I mean, if whoever y'all got locked up and got him expedited back to Russia, that's been locked up in America, it's kind of like, well, what kind of business you in America really got going on? You get what I'm saying? Because an arms dealer, But hey, I'm gonna leave that at that. The focus is Brittany. She's home. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for the whole WNBA family. I know are they're ecstatic as a whole to see a face of their league, back where she belongs. So big shout out to Brittany Griner and her family. She's home. Uh, I remember on episode 22, I also said we was going to strictly, kind of focus hard on the bowl games this segment, and we are. And but first off, I'm gonna touch bases on just the Heisman Committee and how I feel all of that is ran, and how I feel like they have been channeling in too much on just quarterbacks here the last 5-10 years. Uh, I'm gonna stand on this, and this is just my opinion. I'm not an expert. I'm just a person that's been covering sports at a high level for a long time. I've been around people that are professional athletes and actually made it. So, and I have certain connects and ties to things and energy and insight. And this is just my 2 cents. But I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Caleb Williams for winning the Heisman. When I think back on your journey and how it all began last year, and you were a highly coveted recruit quarterback coming out of high school. But just thinking back on how it all unfolded for you, yeah, your story is unique. Because Spencer Rattler was the guy in Oklahoma last year, but uh, big shout out to Lincoln Riley. He made the right football play. I mean, he made the right football decision and what was best for the program and for the team. Uh, Spencer was playing pretty stinky. He wasn't producing. He wasn't performing. I mean, it has to come a time when you throw away the hype, you throw away what all the people around you are saying about a particular player, and you just have to really channel in on what are you looking at on film, what you seeing between the lines, and that's the best evaluation that or assessment you you go by. And Spencer wasn't getting the job done. They insert Caleb into the mix, and he changed their season. Then you fast forward everything. The coach leaves the school. He brings the quarterback with him. Leave one prominent program to a more storied and prominent program, and here we are. Uh, they were in the mix of things the entire season, but they lost to the same team twice. That first time they lost to them, it was very weird. Caleb didn't manage that game properly. They blew a 3-score lead. So when Utah went for two and disrespected him like that at the end of the game, it wasn't a surprise to me because USC was playing very suspect the entire game. So when I look back on that loss, and then when they played them again here in the Pac-12 with all that pressure on them, I had a feeling Rising was going to do it to him again. And big shout out to the Utah Utes, Cameron Rising. I feel like he has surprised a lot of scouts, a lot of teams here the last couple of seasons, and he should be a high second round draft pick uh, because he's played a lot of football up there at Utah. If I'm not mistaken, he's been holding that fort down ever since Tyler Huntley went off to the NFL. So, uh, and he's been winning double digit games every year. He's been a starter over there. So, big shout out to Utah what they got going on. I feel like they might be a couple players away from being pretty dominant program here for the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, they've always had some type of relevancy ever since, Urban Meyer was there in the early 2000s with Alex Smith. They had the little undefeated season and kind of fell off a little bit, but for the most part, Utah has always been kind of a solid program. So, but back to the topic. Big shout out to Caleb. You had an amazing season. The stats were there. Those two losses really kind of bothered me, but the problem is I don't understand why the committee just keep inviting quarterbacks. Not taking nothing away from Stetson or CJ and all the people that were finalists, but when you think about impact and you put this label on the best, I'm not talking about uh, good or just exciting or stat stuffers. I'm talking about the best, the impact, the consistency, and I find it very disrespectful that Jalen Carter wasn't invited, Will Anderson Jr. wasn't invited, nor Brock Bowers. And when you have to think about the best football players in the entire country, those three right there clearly are three of the best football players, pound for pound, in all of college football. So when you channeling in and putting all this pressure on just the quarterbacks, like don't get me wrong, yeah, the quarterbacks get all the attention. We understand it's a quarterback driven market, league, everything is focused around the quarterback. He's like the face of it all, but quarterbacks are not just the best athletes and best players on these teams. A lot of the decisions and the outcomes of games come down to how consistent quarterback play is, and if quarterbacks are playing at a high level. But I think it's pretty selfish, Heisman committee, that you guys have been very quarterback driven. Let's get back to doing the work, please, and scouting these kids and giving them the due credit that they do. Because if you want to be technical, if you want to be technical and just talk about stats, the kid down in North Carolina had just the better stats than CJ, Stetson, and Caleb. But being that he was a true freshman and just in high school last year, it seems like y'all just flirt with his name. But if you talk about stats and the things that y'all been focusing on for the last umpteen years about what these quarterbacks are doing, that dude should at least been invited. He had way better stats than Stetson Bennett. And y'all only threw Stetson in there because he been winning. He been a part of a winning program for the last few seasons. Not to take away from my Bulldog homie, because it's all Bulldogs around here. But Stetson wasn't even the best player on his team. So how did he get the invite, to New York? But that'll all get clarified when the draft comes because we know those three players that I called out. Well, I think Brock has to stay in school one more year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can't come out till you're a junior. So Jalen and Will, they gone. Probably the top two picks right there. So I find that very disrespectful because if you want to be technical, uh, I would have had CJ, Will, and Jalen as the finalist. Because CJ, he 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 had a lot of a bigger uh, shooter field. Because Justice Fields was a very great quarterback at Ohio State, and nobody just knew exactly how good CJ would be. So for CJ to do the things he did these last couple of years after losing a Justin Fields and playing with Ryan Day in that offense, in that scheme, all his numbers were there. The intangibles were there. But should he have got invited? Yeah. But then when I saw a stat about a few weeks ago, when it looked like he was clearly in the driver's seat up until Caleb and USC did what they did to close out their year, uh, I was sitting here thinking, like, man, Drake May really got better stats than CJ. That's when I knew the Heisman committee, they doing too much with this quarterback favoritism. So, uh, yeah, just off the record, guys, please, Heisman committee, let's just focus hard on, you know, being fair to all the dominant players in college football. Uh, Before I jump straight into the bowl games, I want to give a special shout out to San Diego's own Lincoln High School. There are Division I AA state champions. They won state this past weekend. They beat a very storied program, uh, De La Salle. Final score was 33-28. Uh, the MVP closer of that football game uh, is will also be taking his talents to the SEC. Georgia Bulldog signee, Mr. Robinson, had 217 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns, championship game, beastie numbers. Big shout out to the Robinson kid and his family. You made it, kid. Seems like he's a humble kid. Seems like he come from a very good family, good background, and he's getting the opportunity to go play football for the most dominant school in all of college football. So the next stop now is you're making your dreams come true because that's what Georgia got going on right now. You come to school there, they're gonna build you up, great, be a great young man, but it's we got to get to the league. It's strictly business. Going to play football at Georgia, that's just the the vibe and the energy that Kirby has built around there is strictly business. If you get accepted and go to school down there in Georgia, the Alabamas, the LSU's, it's strictly business. It's the Ohio States, the Michigans, it's strictly business. It's no fucking around. So big shout out to him, his family. Big shout out to all the other kids uh, uh, that are going to top schools in the nation. I had a very good season. Adversity was something that you guys dealt with very well, and to finish the season as champions, that's the ultimate goal. So big shout out to the Lincoln Hornets out of San Diego, California. You guys had an amazing season. There was a lot of hype around y'all the whole year. To see y'all close the deal, uh, quite sure that's a very touching and rewarding feeling. Um, Now, the bowl games. Uh, I sat here and I did my homework over the weekend and did my finishing touches this morning, and I counted up. It's 42 bowl games. 42. Now, CFP, I'm very excited about the expansion, the playoffs, the expansion of the playoff system, and you add giving more teams the opportunity to compete for a championship. I think that was a major move. It's good for the game. Um, it's good for television. And it also gives more of these kids uh, something to really fight for, and something to really commit to and want to be a part of. So, but yeah, it's 42 bowl games starting on from December the 17th all the way up to like the new year. Unfortunately, I can't just go and break down all those bowl games, all those matchups. I mean, I can, but unfortunately, I'm only going to be, touching bases with you guys a couple times of the week until I can build my podcast and come up with some more ideas how to grow it. And there will come a time we will be breaking down and diving into all sports and all topics and just breaking everything down to the T. But uh, bowl season will start December 16th. Man, it runs all the way up to the top of the year. But the top two bowl games we got going on is the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. And in the Fiesta Bowl, you got the TCU Horned Frogs playing the Michigan Wolverines. Well, I think it's going to be a great matchup. A lot of NFL talent will be on the field. Uh, do I feel TCU deserved to be in the playoffs? I don't, because they should have beat K State. Uh, they will beat them early in the season, but to lose the way y'all lost at the end of the year, it's like, look, y'all know what was at stake, but that was a little luck and favor for them to give them one more chance to make this turn this around. I guess the committee felt like everything they had did throughout the course of the season was enough, so that one loss really didn't hurt them. Uh, Everybody made, well, I won't say they mama, but I'm just gonna be, uh, I'm just gonna be a realist and just speak my logic. Everybody expected Alabama to get that nod. Uh, it would have been good for TV ratings, and would have had another opportunity to really see how talented of a ball club they really are. But uh, TCU got the nod. Michigan, of course, got the nod after beating Ohio State the way they beat them up there, and they get an opportunity to redeem themselves after the spanking that the Bulldogs put on them last year in the playoffs. So they are the favorite. Do I feel like they're gonna take care of TCU? I do. Feel like Jim Harbaugh, the play calling, the scheme, it's gonna be too much for TCU. So I got TCU coming. I mean, I got Michigan coming out of the Fiesta Bowl, Peach Bowl. Now that's the catch, because you might got 5 to 10 players. You might got like 5 guys in this one game. They might be top 10 picks on both between both of these teams. Georgia Ohio State is going to be whew, that's going to be a damn good football game. I feel that like this game should be the same intensity back when the CFP first started, when Ohio State played Alabama and Ezekiel Elliott put the world on notice. I can feel the same type of game, but I'm leaning towards the Bulldogs because we're just gonna be we're a little more physical, just a little more physical. Ohio State, they have the talent. They got the talent, and I'm talking about they got the talent still with players that's gonna be sitting out, etc., etc. So if I was Georgia, uh, the focus has got to be physicality and a heavy dose of Bowers and big target Mr. Darnell Washington Jr. That 6'7" frame. I feel like that's gonna be the the X factors, the difference makers for the Bulldogs in this game. Bennett, you got to protect the football. They coming at you. They coming at you. Ryan Day, he gonna play this game from a defensive standpoint the way he wish he would have could have played it when they got spanked up by Bama in the championship game a few years ago. Like their defense was so horrible. Like Justin was doing everything he could to keep them in that title game, but man, Devontae and Wilder them Devontae just killed that team single handedly. I mean, dude had like what almost 200 receiving yards at the half, 3 touchdowns at the half. Just was out there just making Ohio State secondary look straight goofy. So I feel like Ryan Day uh, has that game in the back of his head, and a couple of them DBs are still on that team. That number 12 for sure, Wade something. I feel bad for that kid because he's been targeted a lot, man. I'm talking about in all the big games. It seems like all the teams go at him, like they know he's suspect. Like, hey, let's go at this guy. We don't think he want it, but it's like he's a junior senior now, and it's like evidently he's been on the field for a good period of time, and he got to play. Ryan Day didn't believe in him, so he's out there. He got to play, but that's gonna be a very premier matchup, marquee matchup. Superb talent will be on the field, and I truly believe Bulldogs just too physical. So Michigan, you're gonna get your chance to redeem yourself from that spanking the Bulldogs put on y'all last year. That's just my predictions. The top two bowl games, Peach Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, and of course the national championship game will come January the 9th up in the beautiful SoFi facility, where that's the home of the Los Angeles Chargers. You see the Charger jersey. Big shout out to the OG Dub Flutie, the OG Flutie. You know what I'm saying? The OG Flutie. Uh, Very big win last night for the Charge. Uh, I felt like if y'all wanted to save your season, you had to beat Miami last night, and they actually have to win out. So going 11-6, 10-7 minimum, it should get y'all in. Hopefully Bosa can get back healthy, James can get back healthy to close out the season, and you guys are going to be a dangerous team that I had already predicted in a way to make a deep run in the playoffs. I know everybody's focused on Buffalo, KC's, and all of that, but Chargers was always my sleeper team this year. I don't know what's going on with J.C. Jackson. He's been out the mix for a long time. I think there's I might be he might be out for the season, which sucks because we got a big bag over the off season, and now he's not even available for them. But their scheme, the players, everything they got going on their program, they ready for this moment, this time of the year. So be on the lookout for the Chargers, man. Gonna be a very dangerous club. Uh, Big shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. You guys are still holding things down in the NFC. Dallas is right there behind you guys. Giants, y'all gotta, y'all been in the mix all season, but y'all just ain't been getting those signature wins that you need. Uh, Tampa, ooh, man, Niners put hands on y'all yesterday. So I don't know, Tom. Y'all got to figure it out down there. Y'all better get it right and keep it tight. Uh, Big shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals. That was a big key win yesterday. Uh, you in Baltimore, I think that's gonna just come down to that's gonna be a nail biter. It's gonna come down to the end. Who's gonna win that division? So all I can say, y'all gotta keep playing football. Uh, Baltimore, y'all gotta hope Lamar can get back healthy and get back strong. You're gonna need him to make any kind of push, especially winning the division. You're gonna need it whenever y'all match up with Cincy again. And yeah, it's been a pretty exciting weekend so far. Um, Also, big shout out to the Golden State Warriors. They took care of the Boston Celtics on Saturday. Very, very exciting basketball game. Tatum and Brown brought the energy, but Steph and Clay and that committee just wouldn't be denied. So hard to be Golden State when they want to be Golden State. I don't care who you are. So they gave the Celtics a little humble pie this past weekend. But on the contrary, the crosstown Boston Bruins, their hockey team, keep handling business. They fell behind early yesterday and came back and put up three and shut them out the rest of the game. Vegas yesterday. It was a very signature key win for them. They clearly playing like, hey, they want it this year. They playing like the big bad Bruins again. So big shout out to them and what they got going on. But it's been a pleasure, guys. That's been episode 23, Fatherhood, Hip Hop, and Sports. Uh, Episode 24 will be coming live with you guys on Friday morning. We're going to tap into some college basketball going into the weekend. We're going to tap in with you guys on some of the transactions and moves that have been made with Major League Baseball. Um, and we're just going to stay prayed up, and we're gonna keep doing our homework. We're gonna keep, trying to stay on top of, all the things we need to stay on top of, and we're gonna keep God first in everything we're doing. But it's been a pleasure. Big shout out to the YouTube family. Thank you guys so much for giving little old me the opportunity to speak on these topics that mean so much to me. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to see you guys Friday a.m. around 7 o'clock Pacific time. That'd be 10 a.m. on the Eastern time zone. And y'all come tap in, man. Y'all have a blessed top of y'all week for a quarter time. Let's close. We out of here.